What's going on YouTube, and welcome back to another episode of Then We Eat. We've done sausage a couple different times on this channel. Today we're going to be doing sausage, but not just any kind of sausage. On this week's episode we're going to be making smoked sausage. So both times we made sausage on this channel before, we did just pork. This recipe is going to be pork and beef. So what we're going to do, we've got 3 pounds of pork here, 2 pounds of beef. We're just going to cut the pork and the beef into chunks, just small enough chunks that it'll fit into the meat grinder, and then we're going to give it a nice seasoning. So the beef we have here today is a blade roast, and the pork is my sausage favorite, pork butt. The reason we've gone with a blade roast here today is because I went to my local butcher shop and I asked them for a fatty cut of beef. And this is what they recommended. So you don't have to use blade roast. The recipe I actually have called for ground pork and ground beef. I wasn't doing that because it's much better if you grind your own meat. But if you want to use ground pork and ground beef, you can go right ahead. So there we have it. As I say, you're just looking to get chunks of meat so that it'll fit in your grinder. So we're going to put all that in a bowl and we're going to spice it up. Now for the spice mix, we're going to start with a tablespoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of ground black pepper, 3 tablespoons of fennel seed, 3 tablespoons of red chili flakes, and 2/3 of a cup of Parmesan cheese. I'm going to give that all a toss together, try to coat all of the meat in our spice mix. I'd say that's fairly coated. It doesn't have to be perfect because you are going to grind it up and it should get a nice mix once you grind it as well. So for now, I'm going to stick this meat in the freezer. It is pretty chilled already, but I want it pretty hard so that when you grind it up, it doesn't just kind of get soft and kind of mush. It grinds much better if it's slightly frozen, not hard, just slightly frozen. So stick that in the freezer while we prepare our meat grinder. Okay, and there we have it. So I've gone ahead, I've ground the meat through the big meat grinder setting and the small one. A quick tip, just when you're about to finish grinding it on the small setting, run a slice of bread through it. It just helps collect any of that excess meat that's stuck in there, and it'll do a much better job. And just before we stuff it, we're gonna add 2 1/3 cups of cold water. Make sure it's cold because you don't wanna cook the meat any. What this water is going to do, it's going to absorb into the meat and it's going to help grind that meat just that little bit better. So we'll give it a quick mix around. And when I say grind better, what I really mean is run through the casing better. Now that we got it all mixed up, let's go ahead, start stuffing our sausage. Okay, and there we go. So I got a second tray a little bit smaller than this with the sausage. As you can see by the video, it was pretty easy with that water. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna spin them into sausage links and then stick them in the fridge. I don't have time to smoke them today, so we'll smoke them tomorrow, but we'll go ahead and we'll just make them into links. Basically, just make them however big you want. We're gonna make them roughly what you would buy for a sausage at the grocery store. Sometimes it's not always easy to do it yourself, so you might have to rely on the natural casing lines. So some of them might be a little bit bigger or smaller than some of your other ones, but just try to keep them as close as you can. So there you have it. We got 13 sausage out of this tray. Now what we're going to do, as I said, we're going to stick these in the fridge. We're going to smoke them tomorrow. We'll smoke them at about 225 to 250. Some of them will smoke for just a couple of hours. We just a light smoke on them. Other ones we're going to smoke a little bit longer so they're a little more dry. What we like to do with some of the sausage, we'll use these in some soups in the winter time. These smoked sausage are excellent for that. You want a drier sausage for that. If you're eating them for dinner, you're not going to want them as dry. So you'll have to kind of balance it out. A couple hours for the not so dry ones, couple more hours for the ones that you want dried for the soup. So we'll see you tomorrow when it's time to start smoking. All right, and we're back. As you can see, the sausage are now off the smoker. One thing I forgot to mention yesterday, the casing. I get my casing at the local butcher shop. It's hog casing. You can get all kinds of different kinds. There's synthetic, there's hog, there's lamb, there's a bunch of different kinds. You can use whatever you'd like. One thing you should mention, when you get them, they are salt cured. So you are gonna have to soak them in water and just rinse that salt cure out. We do have a short on the channel. You can check it out here to see how to do that. Now, let's give them a taste test, see how they are. Those are really good. Nice spiciness from the fennel. Beautiful smoky flavor throughout the sausage. These are very, very tasty. Nice combination of the beef and pork. And that fennel. If you like the heat, that fennel's a nice kick. There's also a really good kick from the chili flakes. It may be more the chili flakes than the fennel. Very, very, very kicky. And that Parmesan cheese is very nice in there as well. That's it for this video. Hit like if you liked the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell to be notified when we upload next. We upload a new video at 6 a.m. every Friday. The recipe is always in the description below. Share the video with all of your friends and comment down below. What would you like to see us cook next? Is there a sausage recipe you'd like to see? Or maybe something else? Oh, and don't forget, first we cook, then we eat. So good.